come get me. Just 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 come
Bling bling. 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 Bling bling.
Bling, bling. Bling, bling. Hey there. How you doing? Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for coming and hanging out with me. That's pretty cool. I do appreciate it. And yeah, pretty cool of you. I just got back from watching a little bit of Real Chill Graz, and respect to him for what he's doing. And uh really cool that he's bringing attention to some of these cases out there that need attention brought to them. But man, I have to be honest with you. I know I talk about true crime on occasion, whatever, but man, so depressing. So depressing. And like I said, it's no diss against Graz, because I know he has the best intent on what he's doing and everything. But just these stories of the terrible shit that goes on in the world. And I mean, that's why I had to get away from it. It really is. It's it wore on me after a while. But good on Graz for doing what he can to bring attention to those cases that need brought attention to. So good for him. Good for him. Hey, do you like how I took a negative and flipped it to a positive? You like how I did that? Yeah, I'm good like that. I'm good like that. Uh, got a lot to go over tonight. If you're here and you like what I do, give me a thumbs up. The subscriber numbers have grown significantly here in the past. Well, really, since I did my last Delphi video, but they had been on the increase before that. But this has grown into something that I never expected. And I still think I have the best YouTube channel around because of the people that come around, not because of me. I mean, I fully admit I'm nothing special, but you guys are. So thanks for coming and hanging out and making it a bit more fun. And smoke them if you got them. So one of the first things that I wanted to show you guys was a Hudson, Ohio school board meeting. And I don't know if you've seen this. If you have, good for you. If you haven't, good on this mayor for standing up for what's right and doing what's right for children, because too often I see these tactics used for division and anti-Americanism, if you will, and there are people standing up against it in large numbers, and I'm liking what I'm seeing, and that's the reason it gives me hope. I was told a long time ago Americans are innovative and figure out a way to solve problems. These problems that we're seeing will be figured out. Whatever route that, that entails is yet to be determined. But I firmly believe that as Americans, we will put a squash to this anti-racism, which is racism, and we will put a squash to this divisive movement within our country. And it starts with guys like this right here. So here's the news broadcast.
In the city of Hudson, a battle over a textbook has led the mayor to call for the entire school board to step down. It's a dust-up that's now getting international attention. Sarah Shookman explains the outrage and what's being done now.
642 Things to Write About is a paperback journal that's been used to supplement a senior writing course in Hudson for the last 5 years. But this week, a number of the prompts got parents' attention.
Write a sex scene you wouldn't show your mom. Rewrite the sex scene from above into one that you'd let your mom read. Drink a beer. Write about the taste. Write an X-rated Disney scenario. I hope each and every one of you is as uncomfortable as I am after reading that.
I was appalled when my wife showed me and read to me a few nights ago what our kids were being exposed to.
A handful of parents and students spoke up at Monday's school board meeting.
The first day we got it, within 10 minutes of us getting this book, all of us around the room had already found the things out.
Hudson's Mayor Craig Schubert took it a step further, calling it a crime.
It has come to my attention that your educators are distributing essentially what is child pornography. So I'm going to give you a simple choice. You either choose to resign from this Board of Education or you will be charged. Thank you.
A district spokeswoman says the book is one of several used in a College Credit Plus course taught by a Hudson teacher working alongside Hiram College. To register their students, parents must sign a form indicating mature content might be discussed. The school responded, though, collecting all the books and investigating if any other consequences are coming, but board members won't be stepping down. President David Zuro sent us a statement saying, in part, "While we respect the mayor's position within the city of Hudson, the supervision of the public schools of this district is the responsibility of the Board of Education. And at this time, no Board of Education member has indicated any intention to resign."
Well, it's not clear if any crime was committed. None of those topics had been assigned to students, but Russ, the district is looking into its process for approving such books, these supplemental materials, as they call them. And we did hear back from the mayor today, who said he was too busy with some other duties to talk with us, but he would make time next week.
Again, this getting national attention, NBC covering it, and now the British newspapers have picked it up as well.
Yeah, I think there's it's a pretty big headline that they might be child pornography, calling it that, but you understand some of these prompts inside the book were maybe not what people were expecting.
Okay, thank you so much for your perspective, Sarah. Appreciate it. In the city
of let's not sugarcoat it. Okay, let's not sugarcoat it. The mayor would not have went in there had he not personally observed what was in those books. And when I heard a longer clip, I believe that he mentioned that he had already talked to the judge about arrests being made if these school board members did not resign. And I guess the story yet remains to be told. But the more important part here is that people are sick and tired of our children being shat on. And it's happening, I'd say, in certain places more than others, but it's just a heartwarming thing to see that people are standing up for it, standing up for what's right. And the whole CRT thing, to tell one kid that he's oppressed because of the color of his skin, and another kid because he's an oppressor because of the color of their skin at an early age is such a divisive, ridiculous thing to do. And then to push forward, uh, a lot longer and longer in high school, this is what happens. You see that they are openly showing pornography to high schoolers, and I don't know what educational purpose that serves, but I'm firmly against it. And like I said, just glad to see that some people, and we're seeing it more and more often. We're seeing these school boards or communities stand up against their school boards and say, enough, enough. We will not tolerate it any longer, and we will do whatever we have to do to remove you from your positions of power, because they won't tolerate it any longer. So good on them, and bravo to the mayor of Hudson, Ohio. Yeah, I agree. I think the teachers union is a political arm that, you know, what they did during this pandemic was put themselves before the children. That's how I feel about it. If you don't agree, you're welcome to your opinion, but just know this, that you can have your own opinion on YouTube, but do not vocalize it, or they could strike you, as they have me. I've received my first strike because I spoke my opinion. And as you all know, I've never encouraged anyone not to get medical treatment that they thought to be necessary for themselves. I said that was something that you needed to discuss with your doctor, and do not listen to a guy on the internet. Do not listen to a podcaster. Do not listen to anyone but your personal health provider about that issue, because there is so much misinformation on both sides, that you don't know what to believe. And I hope that the one person in this world that you can trust to have your best interest in heart regarding your medical situation is your family physician. Okay. Let's move on down the road here. Here's a strange team up. I have something in common with someone that I never thought that I'd have anything in common with. And as you all may or may not know, Nicki Minaj, who is I use this in quotation marks, a rapper, was recently banned off Twitter because she spoke her opinion in regards to the Met Gala requiring vaccinations in order for you to attend. She just had a baby. She said she wasn't traveling, and she wasn't really well informed on the subject, and she had a personal story that apparently the media didn't like, and of course was quick to say that it was, I don't want to say to be made fun of, but I had said earlier today, one thing you will not do is shut up a strong, proud, powerful black woman, and she is most definitely that. Even though her and I probably have very different stances on a lot of things, I respect her for her standing up for herself. So this is Michael Knowles, and he'll give you a little rundown about the little team that has seemed to have formed because of this Twitter beef between Joy-Ann Reid from MSNBC and Nicki Minaj, because Nicki Minaj was banned from Twitter for a period of time. I don't believe it's permanent, but Joy-Ann Reid tried to make it sound like you have 22 million followers, and what you say is causing people to die. And Joy-Ann Reid was quick to throw in, I've got 2 million followers. You've got 22 million followers. Well, Joy-Ann Reid, nobody gives a flying fuck how many subscribers you have. Nobody. Maybe except for yourself. You are just a talking box, talking head on the talking box that spews more nonsense and have been caught writing vlogs and blogs about homophobia and homosexuality. Instead of standing by her words, she decided to say, my Twitter account got hacked. I do not believe her at all. I don't. So this is Michael Knowles. If you're not familiar with him, check him out. He's quite informative, and I find him entertaining. So here we go.
There's a big divide that we're seeing in this country right now. And a lot of people are waking up to the fact that the divide is not sexual, as the left would tell us. The divide is not racial, as the left would tell us. The divide is not even partisan. I don't even think the divide is Republicans versus Democrats. In many ways, what we've seen in the past few years is that there's a kind of uniparty. There's just this blob, and it's mostly run by Democrats, but there are a few court jester Republicans there whose job it is to provide the appearance of opposition, but really they're just jesters. They just really exist to prop up that establishment. And do you know who showed this to us? Nicki Minaj. I didn't see that one coming. Okay, I wouldn't have put my money on that bet. But she showed us this. She got into a fight yesterday or 2 days ago with Joy Reid. Joy Reid is ostensibly this left-wing woman on MSNBC, and Nicki Minaj, I think, is left-wing. Maybe not. It's very unclear what her politics are now. Nicki Minaj comes out and says, look, mask up, follow some guidelines, but make your own healthcare decisions. Don't take that shot and think that there are no concerns whatsoever. And then she told this story about a friend of hers who had some health problems, apparently, from the vaccine. And she says, just do your own research, make your own decisions. And Joy Reid, the putative radical, comes out and says, no, don't do that. Don't do your own research. Take the shot. Do what Fauci says. And Nicki Minaj comes back to her and says, you're just a shill. You're just a total shill for the white man, is what the words of Nicki Minaj. But I think what she was implying is you're a shill for the establishment. You're a shill for the ruling class. You're telling people they can't use their own minds. So then, to make this situation even more politically complicated, Tucker Carlson, on his very conservative TV show, came out and defended Nicki Minaj. And Nicki Minaj reposted that to her Twitter account with a bullseye. Take a listen to Tucker's monologue.
It's Nicki Minaj's cousin's friend's testicles who are swollen from taking the vax. That's the claim. But it's not anything to do with the physical effect of the vaccine that makes our political class mad. It's the last part of Nicki Minaj's tweet that enrages them. The part where she says you should pray on it, make the decision yourself like a free human being, and, quote, don't be bullied. So our media and public health officials didn't like this because they make their livings bullying people. So they couldn't let it stand.
So Tucker gives, as always, a terrific little monologue, and Nicki Minaj reposts that with a bullseye emoji. So you've now got this major pop star who we all assumed was on the left, who is tweeting even about how she doesn't like the white man that much, and how she's upset that a black woman like Joy Reid would go along with the white man, who's not even usually a white man, but he's the ruling class. And then she's posting this what we're told is this hetero patriarchal, imperial hegemonic sort of Tucker Carlson. She's posting him and saying that guy's got it exactly right. And what is the criticism from everyone in the ruling class on Tucker? Tucker is a populist. Tucker doesn't fit neatly. Forget that he disregards and contradicts leftist orthodoxy, but he doesn't even fit neatly on the right. He's not a usual Republican. He's something different. He's a terrible white nationalist. That's the phrase they use now when they really want to shut somebody up on the right. But what Tucker is he's just not going to play along with the preset, ridiculous caricatures of our politics of the last 20 years, which is there's supposed to be the leftist radical, and then there's the right-winger who really, he's just a libertarian or something. He just cares about tax cuts. And then there's kind of the liberal ruling class, and we see this all play out, and then nothing really changes. And Tucker comes in and he says, no, I don't think so. I think it's less about this pretend Republican, Democrat, left-right divide. I think it's more about the people versus the ruling class. And Nicki Minaj agrees. I'm so glad you liked that clip. If you want to check out...
Yeah, please check out his channel. I find it quite informative. He talks a lot about a lot of political stuff, a lot of pop culture stuff. And I just found it great that Nicki Minaj, like he said, the most damaging thing she said was to do your own research, to think for yourself, to pray on it, and she was attacked by those that are supposed to support her. It just goes to show you that if you don't follow along with that narrative, then you are the enemy. You are a danger. This is a pandemic of the unvaccinated. And don't you ever forget it. Don't you ever forget it. All right. That's how we cause the divide, and that's how we keep the divide. And it's just it's terrible. It's terrible. And what do we see happening here? I just watched Tim Pool, and Tim Pool gave a statistic of 37% of Americans would agree with the balkanization of the United States, and that would mean where we would fragment into different sections, perhaps the Northeast, South, Midwest, mountains, West, Southwest, and each would run their areas as they see fit. And that's a large number of people. And I think that number will grow unless these things that are being brought to our attention about this divide is not squashed, quashed, and stomped into the ground as hard and as soon as possible. And I'm going to do everything in my power, verbally, to do that. I will not shut up, because I know there are many people out there, most people I believe out there, that maybe even if they don't like me personally, agree with what I'm saying because it's so obvious of what's happening. And I don't want to speak for everyone, but I believe that truly in the bottom of my heart. Yeah, I'm dirty non-vaxxed. Yeah. No, since I was banned from YouTube for a week, I decided to go ahead and get double waxed. I smoked 2 joints at one time, That's what that means, right? Oh, I'm confused. Yeah. But how dare I speak my opinion? How dare I? Misinformation. Although we sit and watch the media daily spew misinformation. I just showed an article earlier from CNN. There was a hopeful message, but I'm not exactly sure how it can be accurate. And then we found out that, according to some media outlets, there was a huge gun violence problem in rural Oklahoma where people weren't able to get medical treatment because there was an influx of those that had went to their local agricultural store and dewormed themselves, which was easily debunked by a single phone call to the hospital or to the sheriff's department, and found out that was all utter bullshit. And the question is, why? Why was it demonized? I have my opinion as to why. I think you know what that is. And, it's just, terrible that I have to censor myself. I never thought I would live in a world where, as long as I, spoke my opinion, that I would be, silenced for it. I understand that the Tubes is a private company and they have the right to allow who and what they want on their platform. But I still believe this is a public forum. And as long as you are just speaking your opinion, you should have the right to do so. And to silence anyone that does goes to show you they don't really care about American values. They care about advertising dollars and about narratives and about you doing what they say, or you will not take part in this public forum. Yeah, laugh now, cry later. Okay. And I hear something that's not unexpected, but maybe a little unexpected, because you would think you would think that it would be more hidden than the way that it is. Okay. This is another Michael Knowles clip, but he hits it on the head and says it better than I can, probably. And I just think it's important that the message is heard, and it goes to show you why you all should get off Facebook immediately. Don't take part in it. Don't give them your information, because you know that if you're not buying anything, then that means you are the product. So just from, like I've said from the get-go, fuck Facebook. Okay. Here we go.
Are different rules for different people. We're seeing this not just in the government, we're seeing this in the so-called private sector, though the private sector seems pretty public to me. We're seeing this in big tech, at Facebook. There's a big report just came out in the Wall Street Journal. Facebook says its rules apply to all. Company documents reveal a secret elite that is exempt. So there's this program known as XCheck that gives millions of celebrities, politicians, and other profile users, high-profile users, the privilege to get around the rules. And this is not some conspiracy theory. This has been revealed from internal Facebook documents that say for certain people, they're not going to be held to the same standard, and that's that. Now, sometimes I show different reactions to these sorts of stories on a scale: broke, woke, and bespoke. Okay, so the broke take, which is what the libs are prattling on about right now, is that this is a good thing. It's good that Dr. Fauci, for instance, hypothetically could be exempted from certain rules. It's good that the left gets to play by easier rules than the right does. Okay, that's the broke take. The woke take, the little bit smarter take, is that this is bad. Everyone should be equal. Everyone should have to play exactly on the same level playing field on Facebook as everyone else. That's definitely a better take than the left should be given special privileges. But I don't even think that quite gets it. A lot of conservatives are pushing that argument right now, but I don't think that even quite gets it. I would suggest the bespoke take, the more perceptive one, which is hierarchies in politics are inevitable. This is a very conservative understanding of human nature and political communities. There are going to be hierarchies. There is going to be an elite. People are going to be in different positions, and it's just the way human nature works. It's just the way politics works. What is really bad about this is that Mark Zuckerberg should not be setting the political order. Yes, I grant you, this is kind of my point on free speech. When the right reacted to the left's manipulation of our free speech regime and said, well, you should be able to say whatever you want and do whatever you want. I'm a free speech absolutist. And I just think that's a silly argument. It's a utopian argument even. That's never been true anywhere, certainly not in America. Free speech has never meant you can say whatever you want whenever you want to say it. Every society has standards and taboos. The question to me that's more interesting is, who sets those standards? Who sets those taboos? What are they going to be? Well, it's the same exact principle here. Who sets the political hierarchy? Who sets the way that privilege and status is doled out in society? That's going to be inevitable. That's going to happen. But why is this one billionaire oligarch in Silicon Valley, why is he the one doing it? We used to at least live in a constitutional republic where we the people did that sort of thing, where our political system did that sort of thing. But now, these elites, these oligarchs in Silicon Valley, run that political system because they control speech. And that is a political act. And part of that is the result, it's not just the result of the left grabbing power, it's the result of the right becoming obsessed with this idea of privatization and government always bad and politics always bad and corporations good. And so we've just given our politics to the corporations, and now the corporations run our politics, and we have even less of a say in it. That doesn't make very much sense to me. You've got to step in and reassert an authentic political order. I'm so glad you liked that clip. If you want to check out the whole show, which I would strongly recommend, go to...
So that goes to show you that if you are of a certain class, then Facebook will allow you to get away with a lot more than others. I had told a story earlier about a friend of mine that told a friend of his on Facebook that he would hit him up later. And he was suspended from Facebook for violence because he said he'd hit him up later. And that goes to show you that algorithms and perhaps those that are monitoring Facebook perhaps don't understand figure of speech and vernacular, and they just hear words like hit you and take that to automatically mean that you're encouraging violence. Yet elites, I saw maybe it was a Brazilian soccer player showing nudes of his ex-girlfriend without her permission. And they stayed up for over 24 hours. And Facebook didn't do a damn thing about it. Facebook is the devil. I believe it to the core. I don't want to say that I look down on anyone here that has a Facebook account, but like I said, I understand there's reason to use it. Business reasons, to stay in contact with old friends, things like that. But if it weren't for that, I would say immediately delete that shit. Immediately. Okay. Okay. This next article is from the Mirror, which is, I believe, a European British media outlet, which I found the story to be quite interesting. And here we go. The Netherlands to scrap quarantine rules for vaccinated Brits next week. The Netherlands is set to lift quarantine rules for vaccinated UK travelers later this month as it eases restrictions for Brits. Under the current rules, only vaccinated Brits are allowed to enter the Netherlands and must still undergo a mandatory 10-day quarantine, which rules apply to anyone aged 13 or over who is arriving from the UK. This was due to the UK being deemed a very high risk area. However, from September 22nd, the Netherlands is scrapping quarantine requirements for Brits who are fully vaccinated against COVID. This means the Netherlands will join a lineup of holiday options for Brits who are double jabbed. There are some countries still welcoming unvaccinated Brits. Let's see what we see here. So it appears that they are allowing some that are unvaccinated to arrive in their country. I find that peculiar. Not necessarily wrong, but just different than what we're seeing in other countries take place. And I didn't have to record that. I just think that I wonder why they changed their mind. I wonder why that is. It's it's very strange because that's not what we're seeing in many parts of the world. Now, here's a country that has approached this much differently than other countries have. And you may agree or disagree on how they're handling it. But Israeli research, third vaccine doses produce 10 times more antibodies than the second. The serological study conducted at an Israeli hospital has found that antibody levels in the body after the administration of a third COVID-19 vaccine doses were 10 times higher than those detected after the second. The preliminary results seen among vaccinated staff at Shelba Medical Center in Ramat Gan outside Tel Aviv stoked optimism as the amount of time the booster shot retains its protection, the Kaj public broadcaster reported Tuesday. The study compared the antibody levels a week after the third COVID vaccine dose was administered to its staff to other levels a week after the second dose was administered. The hospital told the network was treating the results with caution and would continue to observe the antibody levels over the coming months. Israel, the first country to officially offer a third dose, began its COVID booster campaign on August 1st, initially rolling it out to those over the age of 60. It then gradually dropped the eligibility age, eventually expanding it to everyone aged 11 and up to who received the second shot at least 5 months ago. Again, this is not what was told to the public, at least here in the United States. Well, what would be the case? And that's a fact. We were told that two would do, and now you're getting flying monkey poo. And I don't know how you take that, but agreed, Icarus. Unfortunately, this pandemic has opened Pandora's box for control. The elites are scared. You know, I gotta be careful what I say. Once you give up a liberty, you don't get it back. And when I hear people say, screw your freedom, I especially from politicians, members of the government, former governors, shock jock hosts like Howard Stern. Howard Stern, you shill, you low life. You used to, be a guy that would go against the grain, and here you are out there, so establishment and so anti what everyone believes Howard Stern to be. I find it hilarious that Joe Rogan took your spot. He took it and ran with it, and it's a much more entertaining and a much more thought-provoking podcast than any AM shock jock like Howard Stern would have out there. Yeah, that's the thing. As long as they're free, right? I mean, what else can the government do? They've made them free. They've made them accessible. They've made them so anybody that wants one can get one. That's what they've done. And so if you want one, go out and get one. Go out and get one. Here's a story I found quite peculiar. Ask my brother to screen record my graduation live stream, and this happened.
Hanc ad os etiam praesento, et decis idem, verbis praesent. Tabitha Reed.
What the hell? Let's try that again.
Praesento, et decis idem, verbis praesent. Tabitha Reed.
I can't really see what's going on there. So let's see what we can find out from the story below. A young woman regretted asking her brother to screen record her graduation ceremony as a special moment was interrupted by a rude text message that popped up on his display. Tabby Reed, 22, asked her brother Ed to record her graduation from a live stream and thought it would be the safest way to capture the special moment. But as he was recording, Ed received an awkward text message from a friend that simply said, "I've shit myself again." Jay Jason, are you texting those people? It's probably lucky that Tabby Reed studied philosophy as she'll be pondering her decision for years to come after the embarrassing blunder. Mate, if you ain't shit yourself, then you ain't lived. You know what I mean? So, hey, that's the truth. That's the truth. Just, I guess you got to be careful of what you or who you allow to record your graduation ceremony. All right. What the hell? A snake knocks out power for an entire North Carolina town. What kind of snake it was? Utility officials in North Carolina said a snake was responsible for a substation fire that left an entire town and the surrounding area without power. Duke Energy said more than 1,400 customers in Denton and the surrounding area were without electricity Wednesday morning after a snake came in contact with equipment at a substation, sparking a fire. This is one of the reasons we are making electric grid improvements in the region. Duke Energy spokesman Jeff Brooks told the news station, "We often think of storms and trees, which are the leading causes of outages, but other items like cars hitting utility poles, snakes, and squirrels getting into equipment also causes a number of outages for electric utilities." The Denton Fire Department said the fire did major damage to the substation. Fire at the Duke substation has now been extinguished, but major repairs will be needed to restore power. Some customers might have power restored by a different substation, picking up some of the power grid, the department said in a Facebook group. Now, not to get too conspiracy theory on you, but if all it takes is a snake to knock out the power, I think that is a sign that we need to readdress our electrical grid, because all it would take is an army of snakes or those armed with snakes to come and wreak major havoc. But it's we see it all the time with birds and squirrels. So I don't want to read too much into it, other than the fact that I do believe that we do need to readdress how our electricity is ran from town to town, why it is on you know, like telephone wires and not buried underground is beyond me. I think that would help immensely. But again, what do I know? Here's some positive news for those of you that like to hear something good once in a while. The 2021 Toy Hall of Fame includes Cabbage Patch Dolls and Risk. The National Toy Hall of Fame in New York announced that the 12 finalists for the 2021 induction into the American Girls Dolls and the board game battle finalists include American Girl Dolls and the board game Battleship. The National Toy Hall of Fame at the Strong Museum of Play in Rochester said the finalists for the induction for this year also include Billiards Cabbage Patch Kids, Fisher Price Corn Popper, Mahjong or Mahong, Masters of the Universe, Pinata, Risk, Sand, the Settlers of Catan, and the Toy Fire Engine. These 12 toys represent the wide scope of playthings from one of the most universal playthings in the world, like sand, to a game-changing board game like Risk, to the popular adult game Billiards. Christopher Bench, vice president for the collection at the Strong, said in a news release. Whether old or new, for kids or adults, all 12 of these toys finalists greatly influenced the world of our play. Online voters are being called to choose their favorites and a player's choice ballot, and the online votes will be counted as one member of the 23 member of the National Selection Advisory Committee in choosing the official inductees. The online voting continues through September 2nd, and the inductees will be announced November 4th. So I would guess you would look for the 2021 Toy Hall of Fame finalist and cast your vote there if you are a big fan of the Cabbage Patch Kids. Boy, those things went crazy when they first came out, huh? I remember watching ladies fight over those things, and talk about a dumb doll. I mean, just my opinion. Just my opinion. Let's see what else I got here for you. Now, here's something you don't see every day. And I've always heard that cats land on their feet every time. Well, nearly every time. And here we go. Video falling cat gets saved by fans at a Miami football game. This is a cat using one of its 9 lives.
This video won the internet tonight. A cat that had made its way into the stadium during a University of Miami football game got caught on a wire hanging below the upper deck and fell. It was dangling by one paw. Thankfully, the fans below had unfurled an American flag and used it as a net. Fans cheered as they held the cat up in the air for everyone to see that it had survived. Hopefully it was, for their sake, declawed because it went a little wild in his hands afterwards.
Hello, I'm Mark Brown. Get more great ABC7 content by clicking the subscribe button.
That is a lucky cat.
For our YouTube channel. And
like I said, I'm more of a dog person. Hate to see anything bad to happen to any animals, but you know, that seemed like a pretty far fall for a cat. And if I had to guess, I would say that cat might have lived through it. He might have, depending on where he landed. CC says we actually have a country road here that gets closed off for 2 times a year for a few weeks because of snake migration. Ew. Nasty. All right. True Crime Jesus is a good friend of mine, and every episode of his videos are brought to you by Chocolate Therapy Ice Cream. And if it was a way for me to send this to him, I would do so immediately, just to see his response and just to see if he would even try it. I mean, he's a Canadian. He's a nice guy, right? He'd give it a whirl. But here we go. Mac and cheese ice cream is the ice cream you never thought you'd need, and now it's hard to get. Mac and cheese ice cream? It looks good. Doesn't seem to be any pasta in it. Mac and cheese, it's cheesy, it's creamy, it's warm, it's buttery. Oh, and one more thing, it's now an ice cream flavor. And how many people are asking and why? We are living in the last days, comedian Josh Prey said on YouTube. Is this a terrible idea? Absolutely. Should this have been made? Gosh, no. This comes from the mind of a first grader. The limited edition flavor created in celebration of National Mac and Cheese Day by Kraft Macaroni and Cheese and Van Leeuwen Ice Cream hit stores Wednesday. It received its fair share of public outcry on social media, but the cold and cheesy treat is still sold out nearly everywhere. The companies wanted to combine 2 of the most iconic comfort foods to create an ice cream with an unforgettable flavor of Kraft macaroni and cheese we all grew up with, said Emily Violet, a senior associate brand manager for Kraft macaroni and cheese, in a news release. The ice cream is gluten-free and carries with it Kraft mac and cheese iconic yellow-orange color. Van Leeuwen sells it for $12 a pint alongside its other flavors, which include Earl Grey tea ice cream and a variety of other vegan options. At least it did before its sites crashed because of the number of people trying to buy it. Mac ice cream is not sold out. Looks like our ultra cool collab was too hot for our servers to handle. So sit back, make a box of mac and chill. We'll have our store back online soon. Okay. I'll pass. True Crime Jesus, if you give it a try, please let me know. Please let me know if it's as good as your chocolate therapy. Or our chocolate therapy, as some might think. uh, going from something happy and kind of fun to something a little bit more dangerous, I'll say. Larger than a football field and growing. Sinkhole has swallowed one house and 2 dogs. Look at the size of that thing. My goodness. A giant sinkhole, a large sinkhole has been growing at a farm in Mexico since May. It's already swallowed a house and 2 dogs and had to be rescued from the, and 2 dogs had to be rescued from the hole last week. My goodness. At least the dogs are okay, I guess. But look at the edges of how deep that sinkhole has gotten. And when I see things like that, I have these thoughts of how much bigger can it get? How much more damage can it cause? And when you see that one that big, the question remains, the question remains. So you might want to keep your dogs away from that area. Just saying. Now, this one here, I don't know what to say of it, to be honest with you. The chocolate bar, surprisingly popular. The surprisingly popular chocolate bars made with blood. Look at her face. Wow. If your skin crawls at this point, we get it. But hematogen bars have proved anything but a horror to the Russian people. Readily accessible at pharmacies throughout the USSR. Throughout the USSR, I mean, don't you mean Russia? The food even survived the collapse of the Soviet Union. Heck, you can still purchase hematogen ice cream bars in Russia today. And if you're really jonesing to try one, but you don't want to fly halfway around the world, inquire at a Russian market in the United States. You may get lucky enough to indulge your inner desire for blood-based candy. Of course, we can't place all the responsibility for bloody food products on the former Soviet Union. Not only is it unfair, but it neglects a whole host of products containing hemoglobin that were popular across Europe. These include favorites such as hematopin, a licorice sweetened blood powder, and who wouldn't get behind Hemasan, a delectable drink made with lectin, calcium, glycophosphorate, and you guessed it, blood. protein. Yum. I just can't imagine. I mean, the look on the girl's face said it enough for me. I guess it must be a cultural thing. I'm not going to dog on them too hard, but thanks, but no thanks. No, CC, that sinkhole seemed to be in a residential area because I swallowed a house. But I'm not 100% sure on that. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I'll ever look at tomato soup ever the same again. What's next? Circumcised chips? Yeah, no shit. I'm surprised things like that haven't been done. As many of you know, I butchered for years, and we used to make a thing called souse. What was gelatinized pig fat with peppers diced upon it or diced in it. And I'm the type of guy that will try anything once, but I would not wish that shit on my worst enemy. And I know it's not quite blood, but it was fat, and it was pig fat, and it was nasty. So if you've never had souse, run, run as far as away as you can. Okay. I've on occasion on the 4th of July, I'll watch a hot dog eating contest. And what these guys do is basically shove a hot dog into a glass of water and then swallow it as fast as they can in a contest to see how many hot dogs they can consume in a short period of time. And that guy right there, what's his name? I can't remember his name. Joey Chestnut. Over the past 16 years, Joey Chestnut has chomped his way into hearts across the nation as America's beloved world record-setting hot dog eating champion. But are the hot dogs doing him dirty? This week, the University of Michigan researchers revealed that each hot dog a person eats could take 36 minutes off their life. Needless to say, Chestnut's really racking up the hours, and the internet is concerned. The study sent Twitter a buzz, and the speculation on the status of Chestnut's health, with tweets ranging from hailing him as a scientific marvel to speculation with sports writer Jay Jaffe tweeting, if this were true, Joey Chestnut would have been dead in 1873. No doubt. That guy, it's kind of gross to watch. I mean, to be honest with you. Oh, also, I'm seeing something right there. Being in Chicago, you don't put ketchup and mustard on a hot dog. A concentrate, au contraire, Jay Jaffe, according to Chestnut, has average annual hot dog consumption sits somewhere between around 1,200 weenies for the past 16 years, If you're not into doing quick math, that's 19,200 hot dogs or 1 year and 115 days of potentially lost time on this mortal planet. This also means that his record breaking 4th of July feat of devouring 76 hot dogs in 10 minutes took just under 2 days off his life. A small price to pay for foot-long fame and fortune. Fret not, Joey Chestnut fandom. There is hope for our favorite eater yet. Though the hot dogs do knock some time off life, the study authors evaluated more than 5,800 other foods, with plenty of them resulting in added minutes. Frankly, the foods listed with hot dogs as life shorteners shouldn't come as a surprise, with soft drinks costing 12.4 minutes, pizza losing a delicious 7.8 minutes, and burgers, another Chestnut's competitive eating specialties, averaging 7 minutes of lost time. If Chestnut plays his cards and his diet right, he can reverse any damage he's done by his hazardous eating career by spending his downtime snacking on beneficial foods like tomatoes, which add 33.8 minutes, bananas 13.5 minutes, and nuts 26 minutes. He could even pivot to PB&J competitions since they rarely rake in spare time at 33 minutes each. It appears that Chestnut, who sticks to grilled chicken and protein shakes in all the off season, is fully aware of the risk he takes with each competition. He maintains that he's got it all under control. The only way I can continue doing it is by being healthy, said Chestnut 37. If I start gaining weight and I start having issues with my body, then I won't be able to push my body. As whether he takes much stock in the new research, he pointed out that eating healthy food isn't the only measurement of a healthy person, but he did tweet that he might need to eat more nuts just to get time back. I would say so, because I've watched that guy just gross me out chomping on hot dogs on the 4th of July at Coney Island, I think it is, in New York City, when Nathan sponsors the hot dog eating contest. Yeah, no doubt. McDonald's has killed way more people than hot dogs. Agreed. Oh, head cheese. That's some nasty stuff. Yeah. That's some nasty stuff. here is something that is new to me, that when the story was first approached to me, I had I had a negative response to it,